Hey, this is Delitra,
Hey, everybody, this is Angela,
and you're listening to Nutrient Sisters.
a podcast dedicated to helping you learn how to nourish yourself.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Nutrient Sisters. My name is Delitra, and I'm here with my co host, Angela. We hope that you guys have been enjoying our past couple of episodes. Today, we're going to take a little detour from some of our hot topic episodes. We thought it would be a good idea for you guys to be formally introduced to us and hear a little bit about our background. Some of you may already be familiar with us personally or follow us on social media, but I realized that there are some of you that may have clicked on our episode for the first time today. So, in today's episode, we will give you an insight of who we are and how our podcast came about. So I'm going to start with my background. So I'm African American, also known as Black. Um, I really don't care about either label for myself, but I thought it was so interesting because recently um, I work and I encounter a lot of Africans. And this guy was telling me about his culture and everything. And he asked about mine. And he was like, "What are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm African American." He's like, "You're not African." I said, hold
Whoa.
on here." I was like, "Actually, my ancestors are." And he was like, "From where?" I said, "Well, I don't know exactly because I'm a descendant of slaves." He didn't really like that answer. He wasn't really agreeable to that, but
Right.
that's the truth. And it the evidence that I don't know my background to me suggests confirms that I am a descendant of slaves. Um,
Right.
so the little that I do know um, directly with my relatives, my grandmother was a sharecropper, but other than that, on my mom's side, I don't really know too much information about the generation before her. On my dad's side, I am a part of a Facebook family group, and someone posted an old census record that showed that my family, um, his side of the family, they were farmers that lived in Georgia, and I thought that was interesting because currently all my relatives on my dad's side live in Ohio. So that makes me think that they were part of the Great Migration to the North.
Hmm.
Uh, so this is all speculation,
Yeah.
little bits and pieces that I have. I haven't done any of the ancestry tests, the 23andMe or the African ancestry DNA, but I plan to do that at some point. Angela, I know you've completed one of these ancestry tests before, and I'm wondering if you can share your experience with that and also your background with the listeners.
Yeah. So I did 23andMe. And the reason I did it was because I wanted to know like health background a little bit. Whenever I go to like the doctors or anything, they're always asking like, "Do you have a history of this? Do you have a history of that?" And I'm like, "I don't really know." So that was like my main reason for doing it. But you also get like an ancestry part of it. You know, if you pay them extra. Um,
Yeah.
so I did that, and so yeah, I'm mixed, and there's a bunch of different things that kind of encompass like who I am. But for the majority of listeners, I'm just going to tell you that I'm half black, half white. Um, the part that I do know is that I'm West African, and then for the white side, I'm European, so I'm like mostly Italian, and it said French, which oui, but
Yeah.
but no, I really thought it was really interesting. Um, I don't have, like, anybody from, like, my immediate family that can tell me whether all of these things are true or not, so, maybe they stole my money, but, I recommend it for anyone. I think you should do it, Delitra.
Yeah, I want to, but like you said, the price of it, that kind of has kept me from really, taking the next step for that. I was like,
Right.
$100? Ooh.
Yeah, you know what? They always have sales, though, so I would look like Black Friday, you should go on
Oh,
and look.
yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
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 I'm gonna look into that
yeah.
because I wanna know.
Right. It was really interesting, and, like, to know that, like, I don't have, the gene that breast cancer gene, like, that was pretty cool,
Oh,
so stuff like
yeah.
that, so I recommend it.
Okay. Yeah, that's important to know for a lot of women. They're interested to see, especially when it comes to breast cancer, do they fall within that, category?
Right.
So, wow. And how is the sample? Like, did you have to give a piece of your hair or spit?
No, I wish. I wish
Oh,
it was the hair. No, you actually have to spit. You have to spit in, like, this vial, and so they fill it with, like, this liquid, obviously, and so it tells you on there, like, "Don't drop any of this liquid when you're opening it," and, of course, the vial is, like, super hard to open, so I spilt a little, and I was like, "Oh, no." But, they read it anyway, so it's fine, but you have to, like, spit a lot in the
oh,
vial, and so you have to, like, I don't know, drink some water or something before.
yeah. That's what I was thinking. You have to be hydrated, I guess, to get enough.
Yeah, but I'm glad
Oh,
it wasn't, like, blood or anything. I don't like needles, so
oh
I'm
no,
glad it
no,
wasn't that, but
no, I couldn't do that. That
yeah.
would be too much for me. Um, and I know some of this stuff we're discussing, we've only found out recently about each other, some of our um family history and things like that.
Yeah.
And kind of where we've lived regionally. So I mentioned on the social media page also when I did my intro that I'm a military brat, so I moved around to a lot of places since birth, about 7 to 8 times I've moved,
Oof.
and yeah, and I haven't lived in one place for more than 5 years, and I've carried that on to into my adulthood, subconsciously.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Kinda living like a nomad, but I really am trying to settle down now and, uh, curate a hometown for myself.
That's right, and hopefully it's near me, girl. Hopefully you stay hopefully you stay in Virginia.
I was gonna say, I feel like Virginia is my home base. 'Cause, we, went to school in Virginia, my mom's side is from Virginia, so I've traveled to Virginia a lot of, uh, times throughout the year while living in other areas, and a lot of places I have lived have been in the South, so I can say that, I've been raised in the South. I don't know necessarily if I'm a Southern girl, because sometimes I encounter people who are from the South, and I just can't relate
Right.
with, some of the colloquialisms and traditions and foods. I'm like, "Wait, what?"
No, I get that.
Like, I thought I knew, but there's so much more, I guess to
Right.
learn. And I know Angela, as long as I've known you, you lived in Virginia, but you lived somewhere else before that. Is that right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've lived here since, gosh, 20 years maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I used to live in Jersey because I'm
Okay.
that's where I get my attitude from. So, Jersey girl.
It's
No, but
something.
right. No, but yeah, I've lived in Virginia. I went to school here. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to compare it to, so I can't say unlike you who's moved
Right.
around all these times, like I
Mhm.
don't have much to I lived in Ohio for a year after
Oh,
high
yeah.
school. Yeah, so that's about it.
Did you enjoy that change?
No, no, I did not.
No?
Oh my gosh, Ohio, sorry, Ohio, but it is super flat, just super farmy, just not me, like, not
Yeah.
and amongst other things, like, racist,
It's
but, um,
oh, okay.
yeah, but they, good for the Ohioans. They love it up there.
It's super cold up there. Every time I go up there, I notice that there's a big difference with the South and the Midwest. I'm like, "Sheesh,
Right,
this is, colder than our colder days down here." It's
right.
definitely different. Different regions, different people. It's very interesting.
Mhm.
But I alluded that, we went to school in Virginia, so I think this is a good time to talk about, um how and when we met. Um,
Yes.
not to make this romantic, but,
Right,
we're
right.
friends, and, so we met in college and in a chemistry course. Angela doesn't remember all of the stuff that I remember, so I'm gonna be the one that takes the lead on this story. So um, I had failed chemistry the year before. I got an F, so I had to retake this class to stay in the nutrition program, and I don't know when, I recognized you in class, but I thought you were one of the, basketball cheerleaders. You look like this
Yes,
girl that was at the basketball game.
that's
So
okay.
so I thought it would be cool to become friends with a cheerleader, like, I figured you knew cute guys and the parties, and, it's just a cool thing, but I found out that I was wrong and
Yeah,
that Angela's personality is kinda anti one of a cheerleader, like, not very peppy, very funny to be around and things like that, but not what you would, perceive a cheerleader's personality to be.
right.
Um,
Guys, she's saying I'm lame, so that's
no, no, you're
she's
more
like,
like
"Yeah, you weren't a
no,
cheerleader, you're just really, like, nerdy and"
no. I mean, like, you're more like the character, Daria. Did you see that show?
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that one.
That's more you. Like, Daria wasn't nerdy, she was just, moody and cool in her own way. And what I perceive a cheerleader is, like, super peppy, hype, smiling all the time, and we laugh a lot, but it's different. It's a different
Right,
personality.
right.
Um, but somehow we became lab partners, and from what I can remember, you would just work on the lab assignments really fast, and you would leave me there to finish the work alone. You got yours, and, I was just gonna have to get mine on my own time.
Right,
Um, I don't think I ever had, like, negative feelings towards you. I just thought, there's something interesting about her, and there must be something that she has to get to that's really fast. It's faster than where I need
girl.
that I need to be at. So I was like, "Oh, okay. She's gone. Hmm.
No, it was just my lame boyfriend at the time, don't worry about it.
Oh, okay." Guys can have you in a spell like that. You're
They
just
sure can.
you're not focused and you're like, "Oh, when can I be with him again?" But, I didn't have that background. So, yeah, um, we both have a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics, and I can't say from that chemistry class that we became friends. Um,
No.
I we became friends, like, later on in the program. I
Right,
don't
yeah.
I don't I don't remember exactly when that happened, but obviously it did because we're right here. We're
Right,
we're here with each other.
right.
Um,
I think we just bonded over I mean, the program was tough. It's like you had to have, like, a 3.5 or something in order to get into the program. So, I think it weeded out a lot of people, like, a lot of competition. 'Cause a lot of people just would go to nursing. They were like, "I'm over this. I don't wanna learn about this anymore." And our professors were kinda tough, and
yeah.
they only wanted the people that were really serious. So, I
Mhm.
think we kind of got we were, like, herded like sheep into
Yeah,
the program, and then once we got into the program, I think we both just, like, felt the same way about a lot of things, like our
yeah.
professors and our classmates, and so I think we would just bond over things like that.
Right. Yeah. A lot of venting sessions,
Yeah.
and our program was small, I think, compared to a lot of the programs on campus, so,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, so it was easier for us to, get to know each other and bond, if we like each other. We're gonna be spending a lot of time with each other anyways,
Right.
so, might as well, you know, link up and try to learn together and navigate this all. So I recently received my master's degree in nutrition education.
Woo woo.
Whoop whoop. And Angela, you received yours. Was it this year too, or was it the year before?
It was 2019.
19.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Before all the mess.
Right.
Um, what was your program? What was your degree?
So mine was nutrition and integrative health. So mine is like I guess integrative health is more of like a newer field? I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not newer, but it seems like it's newer. Because there's just like a super high focus on like combining. Well, integrative health is the combination of alternative healths and biomedicine. So, um,
Oh,
yeah. So it's not that new, but it's becoming new, like more popular, I guess.
new to me.
Yeah. Okay. New to you.
There was an education aspect of that too, right?
Yeah, so my, like, concentration was community education,
Okay.
which was, a lot different from undergrad where we had more of, like, a clinical setting, um,
Right.
which was just, like I think that the reason why I struggled a lot in at Radford, go Highlanders, whoop whoop,
Mhm.
was because I did really well in class, like, I understood the material, but
Yeah.
I hated the fact that, like, they promoted only clinical, jobs, and they wanted
Right.
you to become a registered dietitian, which for me, nothing against registered dietitians, but I just only viewed that as being something you could do in a hospital or like, like a old people facility. That's not what it's called. What's it called? A
Senior
nursing home.
living, long-term
Um,
care, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so that's why when I did my master's, I knew like I don't want to do clinical. I want to do more of the like community education stuff, which
Right.
I know outside of this podcast, you and I have talked, and like you have said you've had similar feelings towards the field as well. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, sometimes it can seem really limiting, like, just what you were saying, like, you can only get a hospital job or long-term care, things that's working with numbers and death and blood and and things like
Yeah,
that, which is not appealing to everybody. Some people it is, they really enjoy that, that drives them, um, but for people that express or enjoy other areas of nutrition, it can be harder because there's not a lot of jobs in nutrition in those other fields like community nutrition, even if you're into sports nutrition,
yeah,
like there's not there's more clinical hospital long-term care jobs than there are community public health sports nutrition. So that can feel super limited and I can understand that. And I did choose the path to be a registered dietitian,
mhm,
which I don't regret, and, the experience was extremely hard,
yeah,
and that's another thing going back to you, like, talking about, like, weeding out people in the program, because even just being a registered dietitian, the path to it is limited because there's not enough preceptors and enough spots for people to get in, and it's
right,
really, really expensive, so I feel like, it was a miracle for me to get through, all the stuff that I did, but I won't go over the full story, of that. If there are any nutrition students out there that wanna hear the full story, I'm happy to give that, but it's really hard, especially when you graduate college. When you graduate in a nutrition program, and you don't become a registered dietitian.
Mhm.
So, I did not become a registered dietitian, um, immediately. It took a few years, and we were just talking about how the dietitian jobs are limited. The jobs where you're not an RD is super limited.
Ooh,
They're like
Lord.
a needle in a haystack
Yes.
type of
Yes.
situation, and, I heard, like, a lot of students that went into other fields, like, I know I think we have one classmate that's a correctional officer,
Whoa.
um, yeah, and if that's what she wants to do, that's great. Um, another, I think a person a year before us, she became an insurance agent,
Wow.
and that's really discouraging, um, from someone looking on who wants to become a dietitian or work as, a nutritionist in those other fields.
Mhm.
So, that's challenging, and I didn't know, um, that's what you were experiencing when you were in the program. I felt the stress too, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm gonna do after graduation." It feels like you have to be perfect
Right.
to become a dietitian, and then when I'm out in the real world, where are these nutrition jobs?
Right.
And thankfully, the way that things are now, I mean, we had the computer back then, and I'm trying to remember what social media was like
Right.
when
Right.
we were in college, but it feels so different now.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you can take things in your own hands, like, you have more freedom and flexibility to do your own thing. Like, I see so many dietitians or nutritionists or, diet techs doing their own thing,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I see
starting
that
their own
too.
business. Yeah, and that's encouraging, to me when sometimes I can feel like, the field can be restrictive, so
Right. No, definitely. Because I would say, like, kind of circling back to what you had said, like, initially when because I felt like one of our professors, which you might know who I'm talking about, but she kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to do the registered dietitian path.
yeah.
And I remember telling her, like, "Okay, if I do that, I wanna do pediatrics and I wanna go to UVA for their dietetic internship."
Mhm.
And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, that's awesome, great, great, great." And then, like, literally, because they don't really talk about the pathway to become a registered dietitian until senior
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So senior year, she was like, "Hey, are you still interested in going to UVA? Because they only offer 2 spots per year."
Whoa.
Or like 4 spots, 2 or 4 spots, I can't remember, um, for dietitian, like, for dietetic students to do their internship, and I was like,
Right.
"This is for the whole entire United States, only 2 to 4
Yes.
spots." I was like, "What?" And so,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I just felt really pressured, and I was like, "That's
Mhm.
insane." UVA was expensive, like, I was like, "What am I gonna how am I
Sure.
gonna do that? They don't off That's not paid," like, just
Yeah.
insane, insane. I think that could also be, like, another topic is
Yeah.
for anybody who is interested in becoming a dietitian, like, understanding the depths of, like, what that entails, because it's not just like, I
Right.
go to school for 4 years, I take a test, and I'm a dietitian. It's like,
Right.
there's, like, a whole process that's
It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's not like a nurse. Like, a nurse, once they get into the program, I know theirs is hard too, but once they get in, like, they're accepted to the nurse program, I think that's, like, their sophomore or junior year,
Mhm.
it's guaranteed, basically. You just take the class, they already set up your clinical rotation, and then you take the test and you become a nurse.
Right.
The way that our program is set up is so disjointed, um where it's not guaranteed. So you can graduate with a degree and not use it. And
Right.
they don't tell you that in the beginning, and it's very scary when you get to your senior year when you start to figure out,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
And you have, like, 2 months to do all of it or else you're out
Right.
and you can't even apply, and it's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
wanna go
crazy.
in it's extremely challenging when especially when you don't have a mentor. I didn't have a mentor. I don't know about you. I mean,
No.
uh, I'm kind of figuring all this stuff out by myself, and all the other students are confused too, so we're just like, I don't know what to do but to cry or be
Yeah, there was a lot of tears shed.
Yeah, yeah, there was. I don't wanna go into a tangent about that, but I just wanna, discuss our past and, our similarities and, differences in our journey. Um, but I wanted to talk about why we started this podcast. So I feel like we talked about collaborating on something for over maybe like 2 years. Every time we would, get together, we were like, "Oh yeah, we should do something."
Yeah.
Um, and in one of those conversations, we decided on a podcast, and this just happened to be a good time for both of us in between all the schooling and life changes and everything.
Mhm.
Uh, which I think is perfect for the both of us because of our background, our educational background, specifically in educating others. Um, for me, and I don't know if this is true for you, Angela, as well, I find that a lot of people, they need help. Um,
Mhm.
not just with eating healthy, but just navigating all the, I would say, the mess that's out there about what healthy eating looks like, what nutrition is, ingredients, and all that stuff. They're bombarded with all this information and they don't know what it means, or if they're interested in it, how to apply that to their lives.
Yeah. I would say
Um,
that too, yeah. I mean, I think and we might have laughed about this earlier, but, like, yeah, like, people are given these crazy like, the keto diet, for instance, like,
Mhm.
it became a huge thing. And I have a lot of customers. I have a lot of patients now who come in and talk to me, and they're like, "I think I'm gonna do keto." And I'm like, "Well, why?" And
Mhm.
every single time it's just like, "Oh, my friend does it," or "I know a friend who does it," or "I know this person does it." And it's like, "Okay, but do you know anything about this keto diet? Like,
Right.
you're just gonna jump in?" Um, so yeah, and but that's how it is for a lot of things. Um,
Yeah.
People just are like they're being bombarded by so
Yeah.
much information online,
For
that it's like we need to I'm glad they have access to it, but it's like we need to try and, like, minimize all the, like, you know, the bad parts or the things that aren't true, like
right.
keto isn't gonna work for everyone. So, hey,
Mhm.
let's look at you as an individual person and then let's talk about this and I feel like with the podcast, it's a lot of us just trying to like educate people on certain topics, trying to discuss certain things that we see on a day-to-day basis as individuals, but also as people in the
Yeah.
field.
Mhm.
Um, and I know, like and I brought up the part about us wanting to do community education because this is sort of a form of that.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
This is health education.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I feel like, I agree with what you're saying, like filtering through all the mess. And I feel like, we're both really opinionated. So this is a natural fit for us.
Yeah.
And besides that, I realized that the world needs more Black voices, more minority.
Girl, yeah, say it again louder.
Right. Since they're finally listening, more Black voices,
Right.
more people that look like us talking to people that look like us, like,
Right.
that they can relate to or that we have some insight, um, on some of the barriers that they may face or, different cultural foods and things like that, discussing those unique that unique perspective as a woman of color and how we view health is so important and needed, because it doesn't make sense for you to give advice to someone where they can't use it. It's like, okay, I don't have access to that, or that goes against my religion, or
Right.
socially that's unacceptable, in my
Yeah.
culture, and I feel like that's the standard. Like people get a one size fits all prescription, and that does not fit for
Right.
everybody.
No, yeah, and I mean, I think, to bring up your point about us being opinionated, and I think, like, one of the reasons why I'm glad that we did this, was because even in my job, I feel like I'm so limited in what I can say or what I should say, and I feel like this is like we now have a position of power to say
Yeah.
to like really be honest, and like even like the other day, I had a client who came in and she was a woman of color, and she just straight up asked me like, do you go by the BMI chart? Like what is that? And like if I were to lose,
Mm.
20, 30 pounds, she literally said I would look like a crackhead. She was like, so she was like, do you go off the BMI chart? And she's just asking me all these questions.
Yeah.
And I had to be like, I had to kind of filter it a little bit.
Mhm.
But with this podcast, I feel like we can be, like, completely 100% open with people, um,
Yeah.
and it doesn't fall back on, me not making money, potentially not making money because your girl needs the
Right.
job.
Right. We still, gonna keep our paychecks at our
Right.
job. But, being honest and open about, our opinions and, um, the relevant topics that affect our communities.
Yeah.
That that's super important. And, I get a lot of requests from people for help for free. So this is your
Girl.
free
Right.
this is your free product, guys. So please, support us and interact with us and let us know, some questions that you have or some commentary that you would like on a certain topic.
Right. Because you can message us and we'll make an episode about it, okay? I can't answer you individually with this free content. Just kidding.
I
Ah,
was gonna be like, dang, Angela, you just giving it to us straight. I can't just, answer all the questions.
right. I
But if we
told
get
you.
Yeah, if
There's
we get the same question over and over again, that'll let us know that, there's a need for that and there's a group of people that are interested in that topic.
right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, this was a good podcast episode.
Yeah, I agree, I agree.
I
Just shooting
think
breeze.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice because now our listeners kind of have an idea of where we came from, some of our struggles, some of our moments of weakness, maybe they can relate to that.
Yeah,
But if you guys have any more questions or you want to get to know us even more, because both of us are just two great people that have a lot to tell you, um, then I would say like message us, get to know us a little bit more. We'll continue to kind of talk to you guys about all of these things we've talked about, especially if you're a dietetic student and you're really interested in learning about the journey. I would message us for sure.
yeah,
But
we're here.
other Yeah, we are here. But other than that, we're so thankful that you guys tuned in to another episode. We want to tell you that we're on 7 different platforms. Go ahead and click that follow button.
Yes.
That way, you'll always get a message for when our new episodes on upload. And I don't know. I just want to say thanks. Thanks for listening and keep continuing to support us. We appreciate it so much. Delitra, you have anything else to say?
Just continue to support us, follow, like, and subscribe, and let us know about any other topics that you guys would like to hear from us.
Well,